You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Welcome to the White Wall Sessions Radio. I'm your host, Dan Schaefer. On tonight's show, part 3 of American Feedbag, Dead Larry, and Steep Canyon Rangers. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter by searching the White Wall Sessions. We are now accepting submissions for Season 8. To apply, visit whitewallsessions.com/appear. The White Wall Sessions would like to thank these fine sponsors for their support. Last Stop CD Shop, Bell Incorporated, Workplace IT Management, Ben's Brewing Company, Screenflare, J. Rick Music, The Pink Moon Room, Minuteman Press, and South Dakota Friends of Traditional Music.
Give me some of Dad.
Traveling from Madison, Wisconsin, American Feedbag joined us for Season 7 in early April. Their full sound crosses multiple genres and draws inspiration from deep-rooted Americana music. American Feedbag is Jake Frauke, piano, bass, and vocals, Chris Sheehan, guitar and vocals, Colin Wymore, lead guitar, and Paul Collier, drums.
Dress was denim faded, her hair up in a bun. Said my name is Henry, and she said I'm Betsy J. Grabbed her hand, felt the magic, danced the night away. Call it fate or romance, or call it sex appeal. As the sun broke through the sky, we'll live our lives together, hallelujah, by and by. One thousand tomorrows, 1,000 morning days, 1,000 ways to show you much I love you, Bessie J. Out of Houston is where we set our vows. No witness but our family, the prairie and the cows. Happy I was crying, tears of thankfulness and joy. 5 months later, me and Betsy had a baby boy. Fiery hair and wine, followed by Melissa, our little flower child. Sure, we had our differences like couples always do, but we met up on lunch breaks while the kids were off at school. I love you, Bessie J. children left and illness followed Betsy's lonely cries. Her brain was taken hostage by a fake and frightened soul. Memories of the past and present, Betsy lost control. Now I come round, see her damn near every day, lying in her cherry chair, just a dreaming time away. She don't recognize me, I'm just another man, but I still feel the magic when I hold on to her hand.
I love playing with other musicians. I mean, it's just period. It's just fun to connect with people musically. But when we're doing duos and it's a loud bar and people aren't really there to listen to singer-songwriters and we're just kind of fighting that noise, it can be a little more challenging, I would say, if we had, versus having a full band. So we've had those nights where it's like, well, we're just practicing up here at this point, and we're just kind of going through our thing. But when we're sitting at a place where people are sitting and listening, it's really fun to get super intimate, and it is a different dynamic for sure as a duo, for sure. But it's super, super fun to play with a full group.
It's not always as easy to do because you got to practice and all that.
Yeah.
Or does it just come naturally to you guys when you come in?
We don't. We had one little rehearsal after our show on Thursday.
It's been a comfortable fit. Yeah. It wasn't a whole lot of like growing pains or anything to work through. It was pretty easy just to kind of hop in and get going off the bat. And I mean, I credit the songs these guys write. They just the parts fit really naturally because the songs are already there. It doesn't take a lot of work to figure out what sounds good on those.
Again, these guys are just they feel it. They're very intuitive. So I mean, again, we don't really have to direct. We just let them do their thing. They're just really masters of their craft.
Well, so when you guys are writing for the duo, for the band, or for yourself, or all? Or
It kind of comes out. Yeah, I mean, not specifically for me anyway. I mean, it's just songs.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these songs Jake and I played for several years and we'd never heard what it sounded like with another band, but in your head you'd kind of have some idea, boy, if there was like if I could have a drum part behind this, I'd like it, and some lead guitar lines or something like that. And when we're playing as a duo, like we try to do as much filling out the sound as possible, but it's really exciting to be able to get to hear like kind of how it always sounded in your head when you're playing with like really good musicians like these guys. So
yeah, some songs are like filled out, completely done, like you can just hear everything going on, and then there's other songs where you're just kind of noodling around and all of a sudden something starts coming and you're just you're just putting out that song as it comes, as a solo just on your guitar or whatever.
Song's almost writing itself once you get it going.
Right.
So your songs are topical. I mean, they're typically about certain subjects, history or trains or whatever. Is that just the way you? I mean, does that just come natural, or do you find the song first and then you need a topic and then it starts forming from there, or how does that happen?
I mean, for me, it kind of just depends upon the song. I mean, a lot of times I'll just kind of come up with a melody that I really like, and then I'll try to think about what that, what type of story would sound good with that melody, and then once I have like my folkier, like kind of ballady story songs, like once I know what the story is, then I can just kind of fill out the details from there, So.
Yeah, I mean, songs for me, they do not come that easy. It's kind of like all of a sudden I'll get a little bug in my head and I just got to grab it and then try to work on it. Sometimes they're a lot more complete than other times. Sometimes it's just a little riff and I got to sit and think about it. I go for walks in the woods and that seems to be like it kind of primes the pump. When I'm walking, there's some kind of rhythmic thing to it, but or just driving. I drive a lot in silence just because it's like my little bubble world.
I caught hell sitting outside alone. It's cold, waiting on pouring rain. These are the dry place to lay my head instead of waiting on pouring rain. Sunny days melt my just fine. Some folks think I'm lazy, but I think I'm doing just fine. Head full of nickels and dimes. You think you know what it's like to be broke? A joke waiting on the pouring rain. You're mad 'cause I make you feel guilty and sad. Too bad waiting on the pouring rain. Sunny days melt my blues away. Scoff and stare, hell, that's just fine. Some folks think I'm lazy, some say I'm losing my mind. Waiting for the nickels and dimes. You say drinking's why I'm here today. Touche, waiting on the pouring rain. Well, I say, trying to live a day in my shoes. You lose that waiting on the pouring rain. Sunny days melt my blues away. Scoff and stare, hell, that's just fine. Some folks think I'm lazy, some say I'm losing my mind. Waiting for the nickels and dimes. Swimming against the tide. I raise my head, they turn their eyes. Surprised, you know the way to my personal hell to tell, waiting on the pouring rain. Well, sure. Oh, it takes a little hard work. You jerk, waiting on the pouring rain. Sunny days melt my blues away. Stop and stare, hell, that's just fine. Some folks think I'm crazy, but I think I'm doing just fine. Waiting for the nickels and dimes. Waiting for the nickels and dimes. Waiting for the nickels and dimes.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
That's awesome. What a great way to start the season. Coming up after the break, Dead Larry.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
For over 100 years, Bell Incorporated has been an innovative leader in the packaging industry and has been proud to call Sioux Falls home. Bell Incorporated has a long history of supporting grassroots organizations in Sioux Falls that help drive the culture that defines our community. We believe a strong creative culture is essential to any thriving community and enhances our happiness and quality of life. Bell Incorporated is proud to be a community sponsor of the White Wall Sessions.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Blending psychedelic riffs, dance, funk, and space-themed rock and roll, Dead Larry is a must-see act. Hailing from Minneapolis, Dead Larry has toured throughout the region for well over a decade. Their powerful sound is complemented with catchy dance beats. The band is Mark McGinnis, vocals, keys, and guitar; Joe Scarpolino, bass, vocals, and synth; Ned Barclay, lead guitar; and Schwafelling on drums.
Out of the bar, into the bedroom, with the sad look on your face, and a smell that I can't place. Where have you been? Yeah, where have you gone to? Did you go there by yourself? Did you go with someone else? You. Tapped down all the cakes, and everything has changed, and everything feels strange. I should have called you, I should have called you, and I feel so deranged, and everything has changed. I should have called you, I should have called you. Ready or not, girl, baby, have no time to waste. There's adventure I can taste. Hitting the road, getting down in the bedroom, in another time and place, maybe way out there in space. Down
Thanks, guys.
We've gone out west a lot. We've never really gone east.
Farthest east is probably Nashville, but we've gone a lot of places.
But yeah, it seems like normally it would be, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. That was the normal part. We have like a fan base in Montana.
Yep, we have Montana, Colorado. We have we toured out to California 4 different times. The first time was a 2-month tour with 12 shows.
We were 18. It's not our fault.
We just wanted to go. We're like, and no one was taking us seriously at home, so we're like, hey, if we go on a tour and come back and be like, hey, we just went on a national tour, and it worked. It did work.
Yeah, we put Mark's stepdad's enormous trailer on
huge.
the back of
my minivan.
Joe's. I thought it was your mom's.
Might be my mom's.
Okay,
minivan.
yeah. But I think it wrecked both of them.
Yeah.
They were not compatible.
We've destroyed some vans. That's for sure. And then recently, just with becoming more adults and figuring out what we want to do, we haven't toured as far. We're trying to keep it more sustainable. We spent a lot of money and exhausted a lot of resources, just getting out there, and you can only do that for so long.
Well, I mean, anymore with the internet age, it's not as prudent to just like do the footwork. I mean, because we did it, and now we can kind of release things from where we are and have people come to us a little bit. And
that's what the festival's for too. It's like, well, we went all over the place for a decade. We were touring regularly, and it's like, now everybody, you come to us. We're here. This is our thing.
Yeah.
You come here.
You've earned that spot. Right?
I like to think so.
Right.
But I imagine this band picks up fans wherever they go, because people are like, okay, not sure what to think, and then they just love it instantly. Do you get that a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty amazed. That does seem to happen. I mean,
yeah, and people really like us. They really do. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of fair weather fans. People are just like, oh, it's okay. They're either like, don't get it and not a fan, or they're just like super duper fans. Like, there's not a whole lot in between. We don't fall into any like we're not just like, oh, go see this, standard space rock nerd band. It's like there's not a,
Yeah. It's kind of like, I mean, I think of Perubu and Zappa and those. I mean, there's a certain thing that, like you say, once you get it, you're in.
Yeah.
You're all in.
And there's so much of it now that if you want to geek out, like if you see us, you're like, I want more. You're like, oh, there's tons.
There's music. We've made music.
Yeah. How many songs do y'all have, do you think?
Oh, that's a tough question. That might be a Mark question.
Wait, I can figure it out. Right.
Recorded?
7. I'm going to say, like, I don't know, I guess probably 100 songs. Or
what'd you say?
Wait,
like 100?
Maybe more. Let's wait. 13. Okay. 6, 13. Okay, 18. There's another 21, 31, 51.
He's good at math. Wow.
Yeah, and he's the remembering guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'll just say 100.
Yeah,
100 songs.
Yeah, around there. And I mean, we've written songs that never made it on anything. I mean, the songs we even played at practice the other day. Like, just like, you want to play this? Like, sure. It's like never really landed, but it exists. It is there.
Well, when you've got a catalog like that, it's probably fun to go back to a certain era that maybe you left alone for 8 years. And
absolutely. We'll do sets. We like to do sets almost chronologically sometimes. Like, all right, we're going to play the oldest stuff first and work our way up. Especially if like big event shows, like people that have been following us for a long time. It's really nice to give them like the gamut,
Oh yeah.
From 10 years ago to today.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of places work and what kind of places don't work for live shows?
For us, man, I don't really know.
That's really a toss-up.
It is,
Yeah, because we'll go in with expectations a lot of times, like, oh, that's going to be a great show, and then it's kind of a dud. But then other times, like, we'll go into a place, it's kind of quiet, there's people reading or something. Then we play, and then it's just like people just loved it, and you can't even tell while you're playing if they're loving it or not. A lot of times we'll think it was a dud, and people will come up and be like, "Oh, that was great! Can we get a T-shirt? All this stuff." It's like, really? Should have been screaming at us when we were playing.
Yeah, and I can say we feel comfortable in dive bars. We do, like, if there's stickers on the walls and it's not that nice, like, we'll be like, okay. This is cool.
A little more speed.
Or if it's like very professional, we can be we kind of like are as professional as where we are. You know what I mean? Like if it's like a legit place, like we're on point, ready to go. But if it's a dive bar, we can also let loose and have fun and, just But I don't know. And then music festivals are great too because people are there to experience new music, and sometimes you have to have a bit more of an open mind to really start to get into what we're doing.
Sure. Well, speaking of music festivals, you've got one that you are is close to your heart, right?
It
Galactic
is.
Getaway.
The Galactic Get Down.
I like
Get Down.
Getaway. I like that.
I wrote it.
Mark actually came up with the name. Yeah, well, we're like, Mark, I'm going to put on this music festival. It's like, we want to name it something. It's a space festival. And he just sent me like 2 huge paragraphs full of names. And that's the one we picked. But yeah, it's our 4th year this year. John Marin and Jess Seahorses of Seahorse Productions, John Marin of Vicarious Visions, and myself are like the heads of it. But we have a huge team now. And it's just basically to celebrate the legacy of Dead Larry, but also how much we all love outer space and just, thinking about it, talking about it, television, movies,
I think it has a lot to do with fandom,
Yeah, well, our most recent full-length album, Mona Lisa Stellarum, that has 20 tracks, and some of those tracks are, because it's kind of a sci-fi rock opera sort of, but like some of the tracks on there is just like our characters, because we're all characters in the whole story, and it's just sound effects, and it's like a little radio play kind of thing.
That's pretty cool.
So
very theatrical, and like and that melded right in. And space is hot right now. Like
space is hot.
Anytime some like new discoveries, like the black hole thing just came out, I'm like, that's just free promo for us. Because people associate that with us now. And I like it. I haven't gotten tired of it yet.
What is it that made you want to do a festival? Like you said, you wanted to share your other bands, and then just for the fans, and were you glad you did it the first time, or was it a lot more than you thought?
No, we've been going to music festivals, and I've helped out with a lot of them enough to know what I was getting myself into. I've helped out with festivals that did not go well in the past at all,
which is most.
But it was a way to stay relevant and continue to pursue other interests on our own as adults. You know what I mean? Because, we for such a long time, it was just the band. It's like, well, how do we engage folks and stay a part of the scene if we want to do other stuff sometimes? So like the festival's a really good thing for that. And there's a lot of rock bands that are just kind of on the fringe of scenes. We can bring them in, and a lot of festivals have, we still have some jam bands, we still have some bluegrass, but like there's a lot more rock and punk and ska, and like weird stuff.
So long.
Thanks.
Coming up after the break, Steep Canyon Rangers.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Hi, I'm Ben Hanton, founder of Ben's Brewing Company. At Ben's, we've always appreciated the finer things in life, like great friends, great music, and great beer. Ben's Brewing Company is proud to announce our White Wall Session Ale. This light pale ale is sourced from the finest local ingredients and pairs exceptionally well with great friends and great music. Enjoy responsibly. Ben's Brewing Company, Yankton, South Dakota.
Good people drink Ben's beer.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Check 1, 2.
While in Sioux Falls to back up Steve Martin and Martin Short, world-class musicians Steep Canyon Rangers made an unforgettable visit to a packed White Wall studio.
Let's play a little something, sing a little bit. Sure.
The Grammy-winning bluegrass artist from North Carolina put on a spectacle with heartfelt licks and unforgettable compositions.
Feels like we have bass right here.
Steep Canyon Rangers are Michael Gugino, vocals, mandolin and mandola, Woody Platt, vocals and guitar, Nikki Sanders, vocals and fiddle, Graham Sharp, vocals, banjo and guitar, and Barrett Smith, vocals and bass.
Barely a whisper, I know your prayer, sweet on your lips as wine, soft beside me, like a breath of air. It's the only thing familiar that I can find. And there's you and I, and all when all the past is shattered, and I may never be, I may never be, I may never be this easy to love again. And there's no promise between you and I, as strong as what we know. The same old stories, they might as well be lies. I don't recognize those people anymore. Hold on, somehow we can see ourselves again the way we do right now. And I may never be,
Woody and I grew up together, and I wasn't at school with him in Chapel Hill, but the band was starting down there, and he said, "Hey, we need a mandolin player. Will you come play with us?" And I was like, "Sure." And then one of the first 2 or 3 songs we ever played together with Graham and Woody, it was an original song that Graham had written, and I was like, "Why are we playing this original song? Why are we not playing Flat and Scruggs and Bill all these songs I know? Why are we playing this original song?" And it was great, and we've just always done it that way. But we always played the traditional stuff too, but we just, from our very first record that we made how many ever years ago, it's got mostly original music on it.
Sure. And so the recording process, you've got 8 or 9 albums now. I can't remember.
We're on like number 13 or 14.
13 or 14. I'm behind.
Really?
Keep me on.
Oh yeah, if you count.
If you count the 3 with Steve Martin.
Oh yeah. Who again? Who's that guy?
Steve somebody.
Up and coming.
The recording process, is it tough to capture, the energy of this band and all the guys playing, or did you find it fairly easy? Do you basically turn the mics on and play, and it's just another show?
This band is, you think about how many shows you play versus how many records you make, and you're always on stage performing, and you don't make, relatively compared, you don't make a lot of records. And I think at the beginning, we were following every producer, every studio has a different idea, and it is hard. It has been hard to capture our sound and our energy throughout the process, but lately we've kind of come into how we like to record. It's taken a long time, but our last record we made in a room. We were this close together, with no separation and no ability to fix anything, and it just happened. It came out, the energy and the band. We finally captured that, and you can't fix it. So it's not perfect, but it kind of had more authenticity and
that moment in time.
So I think we've sort of figured that out. We did a symphony record recently with the Asheville Symphony where we did the same way, played and sang just in a circle.
But I mean, we've worked with a bunch of different producers and great producers who've made records in different ways. Whether it's kind of cutting your part individually to like a track that's already there, and had really good results, I think, with all of them. But I think there's realized kind of in this last recording cycle that there's something maybe gained when you're just out on that limb, that what you lose, like what he said, in perfection, maybe you gain a little bit in immediacy or something.
Interesting. So the Mountain Song Festival, that's the festival you all started to benefit the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, Woody's it's his baby.
And that's been going for several years now.
Yeah, I think this is this coming up years. I think our 13th or 14th.
Yeah. So did that start always for the Boys and Girls Club, just to give back somehow to people, the society?
Yeah, it was really my mom's idea. She said she started our local chapter of the Boys and Girls Club, and was interested in figuring out a way to raise money, and the band was just kind of coming on strong. And we just started it as a one-day event. We had Doc Watson our first year, and we were the host band. We'd play first and get everybody in the mood. And now it's a 3-day event, and we've hit $1 million in donations for the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, it's incredibly successful. We call it a boutique festival. It only holds 2,500 people, and encourage you all to come. It's just down the road.
Right around the corner.
That's great.
Get on I-90 and go right or left. I'm not sure which way.
Well, when you can share music and then also sort of spread the wealth around, is pretty good. And we've got a guy like that, Matt Faulkner, who's, we claim, our great guy from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Now, there's a connection here. That's why you're here. How did you meet Matt?
We got to give credit to our former bass player, right? Yeah. Charles Humphrey, who was in the band, and he's been a great lifelong friend of ours. He was in the band for a long time, the whole time until Barrett joined. And we've done a lot of miles, and different people become the DJs as you're traveling in the bus. And he put Matt's record on, and for like a month. So we just listened to it and listened to it and listened to it. Nobody wanted to stop listening to it. And then we heard the Lakota's Sioux tune, and that immediately, we just were like, we got to play this tune.
Picture a ball
nothing to do there but slow dance and walk. Where the love that you give, it comes back sevenfold. And I'll tell you the prettiest lies ever told. Picture a bright, clear blue sky without end, where the warmth of the sun, it falls soft on your skin, and the air is as clear as the song in your soul. And I'll tell you the prettiest lies ever told. Come dance, dance here with me, come dance. Set yourself free, come dance. Melinda, come dance. Down by the water where the banks have grown wild, there you can drift off to sleep and awake as a child, and open your eyes as the new world unfolds. And I'll tell you the prettiest lies ever told. Come dance, dance here with me, come dance. Set yourself free, come dance. Melinda, come dance. Come dance.
The White Wall Sessions is recorded at Last Stop Studios in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and is produced by Spectrum Films Incorporated. Executive producers are Jeff Zuger, Doug Taylor, Greggy Johnson, and Jay Fishback. Head of broadcast is Dave Palmer. Associate producer is Mike Yeager. The White Wall Sessions Radio is produced and edited by Jeff Zuger. Audio recording and mixing by Carl Koiser, Kevin Phipps, and Dave Palmer. Scheduling and artist relations, Tom Eisner. I'm your host, Dan Schaefer. Join us next week, same time, same station.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.